Thank you for being here. Many of you were with us 3 years ago when I stood with my predecessor, District Attorney Matt Weintraub. I was acting in the role of Bucks County Solicitor then, but really I was with the DA in my role as a parent who was concerned about his kids and wanted to do something to take action. And that was the day that we announced in 2023 that Bucks County was going to be the first county in America to bring suit against YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, and Meta in an historic social media case that has inspired other district attorneys and attorney generals to follow suit. Now, the reason that we came together 3 years ago was our concern about the increased harms that kids in Bucks County were experiencing due to the unsafe and unfair features of these social media platforms. And I regret to tell you that as of today, these companies still have not done what they should be doing to keep our kids safe online. In fact, what I'm seeing as a parent and what I'm now seeing as District Attorney of Bucks County is that these dangers are only getting worse. So today, I'm here to talk to you about additional companies that need to be held accountable for the harms that they are causing to our children. And I'd like to start by talking about Roblox. Those of you who have kids, as I do, may know that Roblox is a very popular online gaming and social media platform that is marketed to kids. It's colorful, it's bright, it's inviting, it's free to play, and it allows kids to create personalized avatars that represent them. Kids can then use these avatars to navigate online worlds and create games and, most importantly, connect with other kids anywhere across the country, anywhere in the world, using the in-app text and voice chat. Nearly 75% of all American children between the ages of 9 to 12 regularly play Roblox with their friends. Roblox reports that it has an average of almost 80 million daily active users and that 62% of all American children under the age of 16 play that game. Two of those Roblox users were a 13-year-old girl in Tennessee and a 16-year-old girl in North Carolina. They met a user from Bucks County, went by the name Instant Classic 9. Supposedly, he was a teenage boy, like them, underage, interested in the kinds of things that kids and teenagers are interested in. But what those two girls did not realize is that Instant Classic 9 was not a teenager, was not a child, but was a grown man named Alec McGill, who lived here in Bucks County. The Roblox platform allowed McGill to disguise himself as a teenager, use the in-app features to communicate with children, gain their trust, and eventually move their communications off to another platform where he convinced them to exchange explicit sexual messages, photographs, and even videos. McGill was able to exploit Roblox's completely lax parental notifications, their failure to implement adequate age verification features, and the addictive nature of the gameplay experience itself in order to seek out kids and engage in sexually explicit conversations and obtain criminal sexual abuse materials from these children. Roblox gave McGill the tools to hide in plain sight and then target and exploit children from behind his phone and computer screen here in Bucks County. Now, the good news is that on Friday in this building, McGill was taken into custody to serve a prison sentence in our county correctional facility. And after he has finished completing his sentence, he's going to have to register as a Tier 2 sex offender. And so for that incredible achievement, I want to thank Assistant District Attorney Ishmael Gabasagi, who is standing to my right, and Detective Eric Landamia from our county detectives for the extraordinarily hard work in bringing this offender to justice. But although this conviction holds one person accountable for horrific crimes that he committed against two children, it is not nearly enough to protect our children from future harm. And that's why it is time to take this fight to the next level. My number one priority as District Attorney is to protect our most vulnerable. Protecting our children from harm is personal to me as a father. And that's why we have added Roblox, Meta Platforms Technology, Discord, and Elon Musk's X, formerly known as Twitter, as defendants in our social media lawsuit. Today we are sending a clear message to social media companies. If you put our children in harm's way, we're coming for you. Social media companies have an abysmal track record when it comes to policing their platforms. They have slashed and in some cases completely abandoned content moderation. As a result, our children are exposed to an endless barrage of pornography, hate speech, cyberbullying, and so-called revenge porn. AI has further weaponized this vile content, and social media offers little more than lip service for victims, claiming there's nothing that they can really do. And all the while, they make billions off the pain and suffering of our children. As a parent, I can tell you we are overmatched. Parents need their government to step up, and that's why we're here. As a parent of 2 young kids in Bucks County, I believe that social media companies can and should do more to ensure their products are not used as a backdoor for predators to access them, and that these companies, at a minimum, should stop using unfair, deceptive, and misleading business practices to get and keep our kids hooked on their platforms. It is time that we hold these global corporations responsible for the harm that they cause. My office intends to do all that we can to put a stop to this virtual open sewer that threatens our most vulnerable citizens. Any company has a responsibility to make sure that their product or service is safe, and that social media companies are no different. So as I said, we are here taking our fight against social media companies to the next level. I am here as the District Attorney of Bucks County, and I'm also joined by the Chair of the Bucks County Board of Commissioners, Diane Marseglia, because this is a united front by both the District Attorneys and the Bucks County government to hold these companies accountable. So with that, Commissioner Marseglia.
Thank you. And in fact, I am here for all 3 commissioners today. You know, sometimes 2 things can happen at the same time but be at cross purposes. 21 years ago, the United States Supreme Court in Roper versus Simmons ruled that adolescents could not be executed for a crime. And then years later, this continued to say that they could not go to jail as an adult and that they could not be given life sentences. Those Roper rulings came from the research of Reuben Gur from the University of Pennsylvania. He was a psychoneurologist who showed that the teen brain does not mature until approximately age 25. His research pointed to the frontal lobe and various parts of the brain that weren't developed in areas where impulse control, planning, judgment, and understanding of consequences occur. Gur's research led to the final piece in recognition since the 1700s that children are different than many adults. Up until the 1700s, they were seen that way. But Gur and psychologists have proved that children's brains are different until they are in their mid-20s. But at the very same time, 21 years ago, we started to allow our children to be exposed to social media. And that includes things like X and Roblox. We allowed our children to be introduced to this without providing the protections that they were going to need. So today I am here on behalf of the commissioners to proudly defend our children from not their behavior, but from the behavior of adults. Specifically, the commissioners are glad to be in this case because we believe these companies have ignored both science and the law. And if you are 21 years or younger, you have had social media in your life the entire time. In fact, an entire generation has now reached maturity with social media and without the protections they deserved. And I'm sorry for that. And in looking back, it seems we should have known the risks, but we didn't. So now we will look forward to preventing such failures, stepping up to make sure that things change, and an attempt to make reparations to those youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. As I mentioned, we are expanding a lawsuit that we had previously filed in federal court. The reason that the District Attorney's Office is able to bring this suit is because of our ability to enforce a consumer protection law that has existed in Pennsylvania for quite some time. Many of you were here when we brought the first ever housing justice lawsuit by a DA's office against a slumlord who had mistreated tenants. And this is a law that really can be used in very creative and innovative ways to hold companies accountable when they harm the public. I am pleased to introduce Elizabeth Akendo, who is the first ever Chief of Civil Enforcement in the Bucks County District Attorney's Office. She has spearheaded all of the civil litigation, including our continued litigation against social media companies. She began this work when she worked in the Bucks County Law Department as a deputy county solicitor, had a guiding hand in the original lawsuit 3 years ago, and is here to talk about how this lawsuit has expanded and exactly what we're alleging in court.
Thank you. As we mentioned, the Bucks County DA's office, in conjunction with the commissioners, filed our complaint on Friday, June 5th, which adds additional defendants: Roblox Corporation, Discord Incorporated, Meta Platforms Technologies LLC, and X Corporation, formerly known as Twitter. This amended complaint adds our new defendants to the underlying social media case that we filed in 2023, and specifically lays out how Roblox Corporation's specific product design features have created opportunities for predators to exploit and continue to exploit our children in Bucks County and really throughout the Commonwealth. Our lawsuit alleges that Roblox has failed to implement robust age verification processes, has no effective parental control notifications, failed to implement opt-in restrictions to the length and frequency of user sessions, and failed to create adequate processes to report child sexual abuse materials to a Roblox platform. As DA Khan just described, Roblox is used as a platform by child predators to target, groom, and reach children from across the country from the comfort of their own living room. The case update we shared about defendant Alec McGill is not a one-off scenario. Child predators know that Roblox's lax controls allow them to use the platform to target our kids, in many cases without parents or guardians ever finding out. With over 60% of American kids reporting that they've used Roblox each month, the platform's reach is truly astounding. Colorful design features, gameplay, and social media aspects of it are all attracted to kids. And yet, with kids being the majority of Roblox users, we believe that they have failed to keep robust safety protocols in place to protect this primary audience. And that is an unfair, deceptive, and misleading business practice in violation of the Consumer Protection Law. As in the Alec McGill case we just mentioned, many of the predators who lure children through Roblox utilize the chat function, which can be seamlessly integrated through Discord. Our lawsuit also names Discord Inc., which creates a way for Roblox users to integrate their Discord account with Roblox and facilitate that chat feature. Meta Platform Technologies also partners with Roblox and targets youth through their Quest platform. The Roblox platform has an app that's downloadable from the Meta VR App Store, which allows users of Meta VR technology to seamlessly integrate with the Roblox platform. Our amended complaint also marks the first district attorney's office to bring suit against X Corporation. X is one of the 5 most visited websites in the United States, and over 23% of teens in the United States, that's over more than 21 million, reported using the X platform in 2022. X's product includes dangerous and harmful design features that continue to put children in harm's way by exposing them to predators, child sexual abuse materials, hateful content, and endless scroll. Our complaint alleges that X Corporation has failed to implement effective parental controls and notifications, failed to implement protective limits to the length and frequency of user sessions, and again failed to create an adequate process for users to report suspected child sexual abuse materials to the platform. Despite X's promises that it has a zero tolerance policy towards materials that feature or promote child sexual exploitation, our amended complaint alleges that investigations have identified coordinated networks of individuals on X openly soliciting and selling child sexual abuse materials on this platform. This amended complaint represents our county's DA's office using its full statutory authority to keep kids safe from corporations who profit by keeping these lax security and parental controls in place, and by using the unfair and deceptive tactics that keep kids hooked on their platforms at the expense of the safety and welfare of kids in our community.
Thank you. And I also just want to note and thank the other members of our office, Chief of Staff Brendan Flynn and Chief of County Detectives Jack Slattery, all of it who have been instrumental in the holistic approach that we've taken to protect our kids in Bucks County. So with that, if there are any questions, we're happy to answer them.
What is your wishful thinking? What is the timeline here for any, at least a response or answer?
Well, it's hard to know. We hesitate to set out timelines with investigations or litigations, but what we can say is this. We launched this litigation against some of the other companies 3 years ago, and since that time, we have finally started to see a number of those corporations start to acknowledge wrongdoing, start to change their behavior, and start to reach settlements with some of the plaintiffs that have brought suit. Bucks County has not yet received one dime from any of those companies, so we're going to continue to press them to get what we deserve. But as I'm sure all of you know, civil litigation often moves slowly, and we're going to make sure that we keep the pressure on these companies by using the full force of the power that we have here. And at the end of the day, the facts are on our side, the law's on our side, and so it's really on these defendants to answer your question and answer the question as to when they're going to step up and make things right.
These are very large, multi-billion-dollar corporations that you're suing. They have attorneys. They pay very well. I mean, are you prepared?
We are. When we brought the suit 3 years ago, I was asked by Laura Coates on CNN, "Isn't this David versus Goliath? You're just one little county in southeastern Pennsylvania. What chance do you have?" Well, after we brought that suit, you saw over 40 attorney general across the country join that litigation, and we've got lawyers too. Some of them are standing up here, and they're pretty darn good. And we have full confidence, as I said, because the facts are on our side, the law's on our side, and we have brilliant attorneys that are going to make the case in court, that we're going to get justice in this case.
Just to clarify, Joe, who has joined the suit in other jurisdictions?
Do you mean the original lawsuit, or so in the original lawsuit? I'll defer to Ms. Akenda if she has additional names, but I believe most, if not all, of the attorney generals at this point in the United States have joined that suit. I know in that first year, over 40 attorney generals had joined the litigation, and so I'll see if Elizabeth has additional members.
I can get exact numbers for you, but apart from the attorney generals, we've also seen other municipalities join the lawsuit and school districts as well. And so we are looking forward to continuing to spread, awareness about this cause of action. And so other municipalities and other school districts that have been harmed can take advantage of this as well.
Is there a precedent for this within Pennsylvania? I know Joe mentioned that there is a civil enforcement aspect to this. Have other DA's offices done this before? Have they joined the separate as well?
So as far as I'm aware of, this specific social media, I believe we are the only one. I'll defer to Joe. In Pennsylvania, yeah. But we've used this civil enforcement tool before, right? So other DA's offices have brought similar lawsuits. Think about the opioids cases. Think about the Juul cases. This is another kind of use of the same statute.
But we are the first to use this consumer protection law, is that correct?
Of the 4 DA's offices in Pennsylvania, yes.
Did you have an outside law firm working on that when you filed it with the county?
Yes.
Is that outside firm still involved?
Yes, that outside firm is still involved.
So we hear constantly in Bucks County and other surrounding counties that DA's offices are stretched thin, that there's so much work to be done. How are you able to balance this while still doing the other aspect of the DA's office? And I understand this falls under protecting, you made it very clear, but is there a challenge of having enough resources to cover all your cases?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what these companies are counting on. They're looking at DA's office and saying, well, yeah, you have all this power, but you're too overworked. You don't have enough staff. You've got drunk driving and homicide and hands-on sexual abuse cases that you need to deal with, and you're never going to get to it. And yeah, so to your question, we may be the first, and we may have been the first in a lot of things, but somebody's got to go first. And I think it says a lot that you've seen others follow the lead of Bucks County, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. When we became the first county to bring that housing justice lawsuit, we immediately heard from other district attorneys across Pennsylvania asking how they can do the same thing to protect their residents. And I think that there are a lot of things that are, the deck is really stacked against everyday people. It's stacked against county governments that want to protect their people, and somebody has to take bold action. It's why we're particularly heartened to have the support of the commissioners in this case, who have fully supported our efforts to redefine what it means for a DA's office to seek justice in the 21st century. And yes, we need to continue to prosecute violent crime. Yes, we need to continue to make sure that we have sound prosecution policies in place. And it's not good enough for us to say to people, well, sure, we have the power to protect consumers, we have the power to protect workers, we have the power to protect the environment, but it's just too hard. that's not good enough. And one of the benefits that I have, having been given the privilege by the commissioners to serve as county solicitor after serving 16 years as a prosecutor, is that I have the experience and the tools to use both criminal and civil enforcement, and we've been able to bring people like Elizabeth into the office to make sure we do this right. And these law firms that are representing us, they're outstanding law firms. They are not going to charge the county a dime unless we get a recovery. And having these relationships and understanding to know who we need to help us in these fights is critical. So I think in addition to this being a step forward towards getting justice, it is also going to continue to provide a blueprint for other district attorneys across Pennsylvania and perhaps across the country for how county governments can stand up for their people.
And on the investigatory side, if that's a word, I just made it up.
You didn't make it up.
Okay, thanks. I wasn't sure. It sounded good, but I love it. Are you using members of the DA's office, detectives, to investigate this? And is that stretching that part of it?
Yeah.
Is there concern there?
Here's what I'll say. I think my view of this job is you got to be able to walk and chew gum, all right? And I think that's not only been my experience as an attorney, both in criminal and civil practice, as a prosecutor, as a county solicitor. Frankly, Jim, that's the experience of a lot of people in this office that were here before we brought in folks like Elizabeth and Brendan to join the ranks. We have really hardworking people that are here to serve. They don't really care if it's a criminal law or a civil law. They want to use the power of this office to protect everyday people and to get justice. And so, yes, we are working hard. We are probably working harder than folks have been working in a long time, but I haven't heard any complaints. What I've heard from our staff is enthusiasm about this new direction that this office is going, and really, I think, an appreciation for the fact that people in Bucks County are now asking, when they see problems that haven't been traditionally solved with handcuffs, is there something that the DA's office can do about that? And so we can't do this alone, Jim. We heavily rely on our partners. Our Consumer Protection Department, for example, has been an invaluable resource in getting information in cases like these. We work with local law enforcement, as you know, from our housing case, to develop the facts. So I think we're going to continue to punch above our weight, but to use the resources that we do have to seek justice each and every day.
How was this man arrested? Was that a county detectives who found this person?
Yeah, this case was part of an incredible initiative that was really launched before I ever stepped into this role. The Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force in Bucks County, which my predecessors, District Attorneys Weintraub and Shorn, put in place, has really done groundbreaking work in keeping children safe. We are only the 4th largest county in Pennsylvania, but we have led the Commonwealth in 2024 and 2025, the first 2 years of this program. We led the Commonwealth in successful arrests and prosecution. The way that this has been so successful is we've had incredibly talented county detectives like Detective Landamia, under the supervision of Chief County Detective Slattery, not only taking the lead in cases such as this, but then also supporting local law enforcement and helping give them the tools to bring cases on their own. And so that sort of model has allowed law enforcement officials to be force multipliers for each other. It's why we've been so successful. And really what we're here for today is to say, that's great, we're leading the Commonwealth in this kind of program, but we still need to do more because our kids still are not safe, and that's why we're taking this to the next level.
Any advice to, this has been going on for 20 years. Like the commissioner said, if you're over 21, you grew up on social media. Why is it taking so long for not just your office, but other states to step up and help parents not send their kids to a shady daycare center, basically?
Yeah.
And I think as a parent, I can kind of tell what a shady daycare center looks like. So what kind of responsibilities do parents have? And what advice could you give?
Look, I think all of us as parents, I can speak for myself, we do a lot to try and make sure that our kids are being responsible when they go on screens, but there's no getting around the use of screens. I mean, this really took effect for me as a young parent during COVID. We were required to put our kids on screens. It's what made me so angry when I found out that my kids who were watching YouTube videos at the instruction of their teachers were then seen as targets for YouTube. So all of us as parents, we have a responsibility to make sure that we have the right rules for our kids, but the reality is we're just outmatched. okay? And what parents across the country, not just here in Bucks County, need is they need people in government to understand what they're going through and understand what could be done. And in terms of your question of why is it taking so long, the answer is that the scales of justice don't balance themselves. The system is not set up for corporations to do the right thing unless they're forced to by a district attorney or an attorney general or a county government that's going to step up and hold them to account. And so when we see the opportunity to do it, we're not going to be fazed by the fact that we're the first ones to do it. We're not going to be worried about phrases like David versus Goliath. We're going to step up and do what this office does each and every day, which is go to court and hold bad actors accountable and seek justice for everyone in Bucks County. Okay, thanks for coming, everyone.